WZRR Birmingham, Talk 99.5, and Talk995.com.
And John Bird capably handling things here at the flagship station, Talk 99.5. Hope you're doing well. Father's Day weekend. And NASCAR's out in San Diego.
Yeah.
A lot of talk about San Diego coming up.
Yeah.
Naval course, road course.
Oof. That's all I'm going to say. Oof.
Yeah. You and I were talking and had the chance to watch a little bit of it, of the practice session on the CW yesterday. Oof. Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating weekend for NASCAR, no doubt about it.
Well, yeah, well, I'll say this: it's already fascinating when you have to stop the race and red flag it to fix the wall
Yeah.
3 times yesterday.
Yeah. All right. Well, as we always do, thank you to everybody checking us out, whether you're on our flagship station, Talk 99.5, whether you're on Real Talk 99.5 TV on YouTube or CRN Live on YouTube, where producer John Myers is. And a whole lot of things going on. Let's do, as we always do, kind of a recap of what we saw on the track last weekend. That gets you prepared for what we will be ready to get into this weekend. And it was Veterans Weekend at Pocono last Saturday to kick things off. O'Reilly Auto Parts Series got the action running at Pocono. When it was done, Justin Allgaier proved he still has the talent. He led a race-high 50 laps on his way to the win over rookie Brent Cruz. Cruz led 45 laps himself. Justin Allgaier has seemed all but ready to retire.
It's kind of hard to retire when you're doing this good and having this good of a season.
But maybe he's having second thoughts.
Kind of. I think him and Denny Hamlin's in the same boat.
We'll talk about him in just a couple of moments. That pair beat William Sawalich to the line. They were trailed by Sam Mayer, who suddenly seems to have life. We were wondering what he was doing earlier on this season. Now all of a sudden he's showing up. Brandon Jones, Corey Day, Carson Kvapil, Moonlighter Kyle Larson, Taylor Gray, and Sammy Smith made up the top 10. The funny thing is, let me go back to Sam Mayer for just a moment. Sam Mayer was nowhere. Sheldon Creed was the guy who claimed his first ever win in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series earlier on this year. Now, all of a sudden, those roles have reversed. Suddenly, we're seeing Sam Mayer in there, and Sheldon Creed is, what the heck happened to the boy?
Yeah, he's kind of fell off the radar.
Don't know what's going on over there, but they're going to have to figure it out because he's losing ground quickly. Justin Allgaier making the points race a bit of a joke right now. He leads Jesse Love. Get this, 842 to 592.
Fun fact about that, he mathematically has already locked himself into the chase in June.
And we got, what, 6-7 races?
At least.
To go in that?
At least.
Oof. Corey Day's third. Sheldon Creed has fallen to fourth. Brandon Jones fifth. Austin Hill sixth. Then you got Carson Kvapil, Sammy Smith, Sam Mayers up there and moving up slowly but surely. Parker Retzlaff, William Sawalich, and Brent Cruz round out the top 12 who will make the chase. Taylor Gray is 13th. He's 3 points out of that final chase slot. And let's face it, chaos later today could shake this up massively.
I firmly believe chaos is a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good way to put it. Then there was Sunday morning in Spain. Once again, Ferrari, Mercedes battling in Formula One. We were just kind of left to wonder who was going to get the better of it. But the thing about it was we had an unexpected thing happen on the way to a six-speed. Kimi Antonelli had a massive problem with his racer in the very, very late part of the race, and it caused him to record a did not finish, and the beneficiary, no less than Lewis Hamilton. 3-stop strategy worked out for him as well, allowed him to keep fresher tires, and he was pulling away as the laps kind of wound down to 0, allowed him to claim his first win with Ferrari. And now get this, he has joined a very elite club. I haven't looked up to see who all's done this, but he's one of a very few number of drivers in F1 history to win with 3 different teams. Now Ferrari, before that Mercedes, and to kick off his career with McLaren. That ain't a bad resume, boys.
Pretty strong.
Ain't a bad
Pretty
resume
strong.
at all. Hamilton beat out the other Mercedes of George Russell by almost 20 seconds. Ouch. Lando Norris third, Max Verstappen fourth, Oscar Piastri fifth. Rest of your top 10, Isaac Hajar, Pierre Gasly, Liam Lawson, Arvin Lindblad, and Franco Colapinto. Kimi Antonelli still leads the points now 156 to 115 over Lewis Hamilton. George Russell is now third. Charles Leclerc fourth. Lando Norris the top 5 in points. In the Constructors' Cup, Mercedes over Ferrari 262 to 190. McLaren's third with 141. They got to figure something out over there. I mean, these guys are the defending Constructors' Cup champs.
Yeah, they got to get it together.
Red Bull holding 89. Talk about a group that needs to get it together. Alpine up to 57. Racing Bulls 41. 21 for Haas F1. Williams has 11. Audi holds 2. 1 for Aston Martin, and Cadillac remains scoreless on the season. Although it was funny, Sergio Perez said that this race in Spain showed them what they're missing and what they need to work on for their next update.
Mm-hmm.
You would have thought they would have figured that out before.
Yeah, you would have thought so.
But Monaco is a weird thing. as well. Monaco is an outlier. It's a very narrow street course. Yes, it's historic. We all love to talk about Monaco and see all the sights and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But in the grand scheme of things, with these cars as big as they are, and yes, the size of the cars, they're not as long, they're not as wide as they were last year, but still, these cars are bigger than what they probably really need to be for Monaco. You're not going to find out as much as you would at a track that is dedicated to racing like Catalunya and Barcelona.
Yep. With the fun fact of the morning.
Sure.
Already.
Okay.
The only thing that I can see with drivers that have won with multiple teams
mm-hmm.
are Juan Manuel Fangio,
mm-hmm.
Dan Gurney, and Sir Sterling Moss.
Talk about an elite club. That'd do it.
That's the only thing I can find in regards to that.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. Then there was Sunday here in the United States where NASCAR tried to beat the weather to get the entire race in. And this, for all those people who have negative things to say about Amazon Prime, for Fox, for TNT, and for NBC Sports, whether it's on USA or NBC, there is a contract that they have that states you have the ability to move, NASCAR has the ability to move a race within an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Amazon Prime doesn't have any such restriction because it's a streaming service and they can basically go on anytime they want as long as the broadcast crew is ready. So they were able to move this thing up a couple hours.
And everybody loved having a 1 p.m. Eastern start.
NASCAR, take notes. Just saying. They needed to do this to try to beat the weather to get the race in. NASCAR, working with media partners, got the race started 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. They did beat the raindrops, barely. Drama number 1 was down. Drama number 2 was whether Denny Hamlin could claim his 3rd win in a row, and that answer was also yes. He claimed the pole for the 3rd straight race in a row, but this time he didn't have to test himself. He didn't have to go all the way to the back at the start, but he also didn't lead the most laps. That honor belonged to John Hunter Nemechek, who led 32. But man, this Toyota Brigade continuing to show all kinds of muscle.
They're not showing anything this weekend, which there's several people not showing anything this weekend yet, but Legacy has woken up.
I agree.
Legacy's woken up.
Yep, and Toyota is really just, they're kicking butt and taking names. They claimed half the top 10 finishers last weekend at Pocono. Hamlin was trailed by Tyler Reddick, Toyota, William Byron, Chevrolet, Nemechek, Toyota, Kyle Larson, Chevrolet, 6 through 10, Eric Jones, Toyota, a Ford, Chris Buescher, Ross Chastain and a Chevy, then Ty Gibbs and Ryan Blaney, Toyota and Ford, respectively. Tyler Reddick's lead over Hamlin in the points down to 704 to 685. This was a triple-digit lead a handful of races ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's less than 20.
I firmly believe this is a 2-horse race now.
Yeah, I think you're right. Ryan Blaney's 3rd, Chase Elliott 4th, Ty Gibbs 5th, Kyle Larson 6th, then Chris Buescher, Daniel Suarez, Carson Hocevar, and Christopher Bell making up the top 10. Rest of the Chase field at this time is William Byron, Chase Briscoe, Bubba Wallace, Shane Van Gisbergen, who stands to have a potentially very good weekend for himself, Eric Jones, and Austin Cindric. Cindric's 4 points over Brad Keselowski for that final Chase slot in the Cup Series.
Not if a certain backup driver gets in a car. I'm not so sure about that.
Then there's that. We'll see what happens. NHRA wrapped up last weekend's action in Bristol, Tennessee. Top fuel came down to Sean Langdon versus Antron Brown. Brown's slightly quicker reaction time paid off with a very slim win, 3.788 elapsed time, clocking in at 331.61 miles per hour. They seemed a little bit slow up there. I mean, mid 330s up to close to 340 is what we generally see in top fuel.
Yeah, I think a lot of it was with that the new surface on the launch, the first 330 feet of the new surface they put down.
They kind of ground it down a little bit too, yeah. Funny car battle between Matt Hagan and Daniel Wilkerson. Hagan leaves Wilkerson standing at the start line. Cruises onto the win, 4.125 ET, 310.91 miles per hour. Wilkerson, not only with a bad reaction time, lost traction off of the start and had to back off the throttle. This is win number 2 for Hagan on the season, number 57 of his career. Greg Anderson made it to the finals of Pro Stock Car, taking on Matt Hartford. Hartford, the advantage off the light, never got challenged. Anderson actually had to shut down his ride pretty quick. Hartford's run a 6.672 ET at 205.6 miles per hour. Win number 3 for him on the year already, 11th win of his career to date in a relatively young career. And then the two guys who we have come to expect to dominate, really, Pro Stock Motorcycle. Richard Gadsden taking on Gage Herrera in the finals of Pro Stock Motorcycle. Gadsden quicker off the light, but then Herrera taking over, claims the win. 5.708 ET, again, relatively slow. I mean, sometimes we see 200, 201 miles per hour to these guys, 198.47. Mm-hmm. Herrera's only second win of 2026. But it is win number 30 of his career.
Yeah, that is kind of a shock.
Yeah. So, anyway. So, after the weekend and with the delayed action from the New England Nationals also included in there, which we talked about last Saturday morning. Sean Langdon leads Top Fuel 114, I should say, over Doug Kalitta. Leah Pruitt, Tony Stewart, and Antron Brown making up the rest of the top 5. To Funny Car, your top 5, Ron Capps' lead over Matt Hagan is down to a slim 24 points. J.R. Todd's 3rd, Jordan Vandergriff 4th, Jack Beckman 5th. Greg Anderson's your leader in Pro Stock Car by a very, very narrow 11-point margin over Dallas Glenn. Then it's Matt Hartford, Greg Stanfield, Matthew Latino making up the top 5 there. And the top 5 in Pro Stock Motorcycle are Richard Gadsden still on top now, 68 over Angie Smith. Gage Herrera's up to 3rd. Matt Smith, John Hall make up the top 5. All right, so that brings us to last night. The weekend racing, we've already had 2 races. And the first of those 2 was the Craftsman Truck Series, running the Navy 200 on the Coronado Naval Base in San Diego. Matt, you and I were texting back and forth, let's just say.
Race that started at 6 p.m. Central and finished a little after 9:15 last night.
Yeah, it took them a while.
Jeez.
I mean, they were actually I'll talk about them here in just a moment. I was hosting music trivia last night. I was fully expecting that race to be done by the time I got done with trivia. I was listening to it on Sirius XM satellite radio on the way home.
It should have been.
And they're talking about how they may have to institute the protocols because San Diego doesn't have lights. They were worried about it getting dark.
They were, I think, 25 minutes away from having the protocols.
Yeah,
because
25, 30 minutes.
Because it seems like Jamie Little is always keen about, we have adverse conditions coming into play, 30 more minutes and we'll be, or whatever. Just get her out of the booth. Put her back on pit road, please. Eric Brennan needs to be in the booth. But this is an interesting setup of how these broadcasts are being done out there. I don't know where CW did their broadcast from practice yesterday. I know they done their pre-practice, pre-show hit from the deck of the USS Carl Vinson. Mm-hmm. But Fox was in the air traffic control tower at the runway at North Island.
That's a good spot. There's no doubt about that.
Prime is in the whatever you call it, the upper parts of the control tower of the USS Carl Vinson.
Superstructure.
The superstructure.
Yeah.
I don't know. Lord knows where MRN is. Which MRN, this is a huge question of how they're doing this one out there.
Yeah.
Big question.
For the number of voices that MRN technically employs or could bring in, to have only four turn callers.
4.
And Dave Moody's not on the aircraft carrier. He showed. I've seen a picture of where he's sitting. He's got a great shot of the Carl Vinson.
Yeah, he's down into turn 1 and 2 section. Yeah, coming off the Dukes of Hazzard jump, what I call it, down into turn 2, over into turn 3, and then our illustrious friend, that's what we'll call him, is over on that section by the Carl Vinson in turn 4, 5, and 6. There's a gap that Mike Bagley picks from 6, 7, 8, 9 all the way over to 10.
From wherever their booth is.
Wherever the booth is. Kurt Becker picks it up. Bagley picks it up again. Then Dan Hubbard has it all the way to the front stretch. Like, huh?
Yeah.
And Road America, they had everybody and their mother covering the turn at Road America.
Yeah.
So I was thinking it'd be a Road America style setup, but hey, who knows? But anyways, it was, as he claimed himself yesterday in the post race, Lane Van Rigsbergen. Yes, he called himself that. That's a mighty, mighty big choice of words there. In other words, Lane Riggs.
Good luck living up to that, Lane.
Yeah, got his 4th win, which on a green-white checker because Tyler Reif made a mental error, which Tyler Reif had the race won.
He had that race won. You are right.
Daniel Hemrick in P2. Kaz Gralla in a one-off start with Halmar Friesen in third. Landon Lewis fourth. Ty Majeski fifth. Justin Haley getting Rams' best finish of the year so far in sixth. Brendan Queen in seventh. Ben Rhodes in eighth. Christian Eckes in ninth. And Gio Rosero in 10th. And spotting through the rest of the field. Minnie Tyrell getting his best season finish of 11th. Okay. Adam Andretti 14th. Brendan Gaughan fought his way up to 16th after being on lap 3, being behind the leader 39 seconds.
Way to battle back, Brendan.
Parker Kligerman won off in the 75 truck in 18th. Tyler Reifel scored 19th.
Yeah, you had to do a stop and go.
Yep. Chandler Smith, after spinning out on the white flag lap, was 22nd. Caden Honeycutt, 23rd. Justin Marks, after junking 2 trucks in one day, was 25th.
Ow.
Jimmy Johnson was 30th. He had a stout run going, but he had an electrical issue. Jamie McMurray, making the free agent start in the Ram 25 truck, was 34th after having an accident, and Corey LaJoy was 35th.
Jimmy Johnson, one of 2 drivers, along with Austin Hill, that are the only 2 drivers that are being allowed to run in multiple divisions this weekend.
Are we sure about that?
That's what I heard yesterday.
Brent Cruz is approved to run for Cup as well as a backup driver for Christopher Bell.
Okay. And the reason why they wanted to try and make sure that nobody really got too big of an advantage by running in other series, but Jimmy Johnson's not running for points. You know, he's just running at San Diego because it's home place, and he was already planning on doing the Cup Series and got an opportunity to do the trucks.
Austin Hill with extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah, the Kyle Busch situation, and then you just mentioned Brent Cruz as a fill-in.
And just a minute ago, when I said Brent Cruz, when I said another driver threatening Shane Van Gisbergen, Brent Cruz got 10 minutes worth of practice yesterday, which equated to about 5 laps. His first lap on the track was faster than Christopher Bell.
There you go. We'll deal with truck points in a moment, talk about the other race that happened very, very early this morning in China, and get into the action of what's going to be happening the rest of this weekend right after we take this break.
We will be right back with more on the Championship Racing Network. fuel only. Fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show. Steve West and Matt Nicholson here in studio. Producer John Myers on CRN Live on YouTube and capably running things at the flagship station and Real Talk 99.5, the one and only John Bird, who's taking off next weekend. So you're leaving me to do your job. So let's do this real quick, John Bird. Next week, Matt will be in the seat that I'm sitting in, and he'll have the whole screen.
Right.
John Bird, do me a favor, turn on the producer camera in there.
Okay.
That little camera right there.
Hi, I'm Steve.
Yeah, that's how you're going to see me next weekend.
Mini Steve.
Yep, exactly. So that's how that's going to work. Thank you, John. Appreciate you, brother. And he's got the next 2 weekends off, so that's the way that that's going to happen. But it's all good. We'll make it work. It's going to be a good time. All right.
Won't be the first time.
So, yeah, really, it's not like the first time that I've ever produced a show and hosted at the same time. So here's the points. In the truck series, after everything got said and done, Lane Riggs leading the points 562 to Caden Honeycutt's 497. Then you got Chandler Smith, Gio Ruggiero, Christian Eckes, Ty Majeski, Ben Rhodes, Daniel Hemrick, Tyler Ankrum, and Jake Garcia rounding out the top 10. All 10 drivers in the truck series make the chase. Garcia's 5 points up on Grant Enfinger for that 10th and final chase slot. There's 5 races to go till the chase.
Yep, and another road course coming up.
Yeah, except they're not going to Sonoma like the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and the Cup Series are. They're going all the way back across the country to Connecticut to Lime Rock Park.
Yeah.
For the second year in a row. Whew.
We'll see.
A lot of traveling.
Yep.
Portions of this show and this particular segment being brought to you by the fine folks at Siluria Brewing Company, where I was hosting music trivia last night. They have things going on basically every single afternoon or evening. They've got things going on tonight. They got a game called Singo tonight, started about 7 o'clock. A week from tonight, they got sci-fi movie trivia. So if you fashion yourself as some sort of a sci-fi movie buff, and I'm not just talking about Star Wars here, I'm talking about all kinds of sci-fi movies from all kinds of decades and genres. Yeah, might want to test yourself next Saturday night at Siluria Brewing Company, plus regular trivia and all kinds of the other things that are going on. And if you want to find out more, simply do so by going onto their social media pages, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. Just look up Siluria Brewing Company. You can find out all the great stuff that they got going on there at any particular time. Whether or not they're going to be open on Sundays, sometimes they are, sometimes they're not. They'll let you know what food trucks they got there as well. And you don't have to use their food truck. You can obviously get whatever it is that you want, but you got a great selection of craft brews and ciders and things like that. So it's a lot of fun. Great place out back for the kids to be able to run around and get some energy out while you're just sitting back and relaxing a little bit. Siluria Brewing Company, 145 First Avenue West in Alabaster. Tell Danny and everybody out there that you heard about them right here on CRN. All right, so early this morning, really early this morning, U.S. time anyway, Formula E got back in action. First of 3 races in China. This is the standalone weekend in Sanya, China. Race aired for us at 3 a.m. Eastern, 2 a.m. Central Time. No, I didn't watch it. But in the end, it was a first for one team. Andretti Formula E, they've had their ups and downs in the series since its inception, a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can lock out the front row, it's good. And when you can take those 2 same drivers and have them finish 1-2,
Yep.
that's a really good day.
That's even better.
Jake Dennis, Felipe Drugovich specifically were able to weave through a minefield of a red flag and 2 full course yellows. Finished 1-2, marked the first time any Andretti pair has finished 1-2 in Formula E. This is a day the team is going to mark. Dennis Drugovich trailed by Joseph Maria Marti, Antonio Felix DaCosta, Max Gunther, Nick DeVries off a great showing at the 24 Hours Le Mans, jumping back in Formula E, getting a top 10. Nico Muller, Jean-Eric Verne, Taylor Bernard, and Lucas DeGrassi all made up the top 10. Mitch Evans with 128 points leads the way there. Oliver Rowland's got 109, 103 for Eduardo Mortara, 101 for Pascal Wehrlein, and in 5th, Antonio Felix DaCosta holding 95. Jaguar starting to pull away in the team title race, 223 to 190 for Porsche. Then it's Mahindra, 155. I can guarantee you it's a 3-horse race. Unless this is something that Andretti can keep up doing at 138.
Yep.
With this is 11 of 16 races. That's a very, very vertical mountain to climb for them.
Very.
But again, if they can do a couple more times what they did here this morning makes it a little bit easier.
It's true.
Then you got Nissan with 120, 99 for Envision, 89 for Citroen, Cooper Curo 86, 46 for DS Penske. Lola has 9. Thought Cadillac was in bad shape. Porsche leads the manufacturer standings over Jaguar. Let's see here. Hang on. I didn't get all the numbers there. Anyway, Porsche leads the manufacturer standing over a Jaguar. Then you got Stellantis, Mahindra, Nissan, and Lola. The difference between them all is kind of amazing. Porsche is somewhere in the 330s, if I remember right, and then Jaguar's 286. 156 for Stellantis, Mahindra 153, 142 for Nissan. Lola, they do have more than just their own team that they're powering. So it's all really in the rest of the car, because 48 points for the maker, but the car has only 9. Ouch. Got to get that figured out, guys. All right, so rest of this weekend in the racing world. Here's the deal. Today, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series taken to the very same course in San Diego, 16 turns, 3.4 miles long. This race for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series is going to be shown on the CW network, heard on the MRN radio broadcast. Again, only 4 turn drivers. Could have called. 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central Time. That seems, let's just say it late, considering what happened last night.
Yeah, they're only running 10 more laps than the Truck Series race. 50, 60, 75.
Still.
But that is true, considering, if anybody decides they want to plow the turn 16 wall down again.
Yeah.
Or any other wall.
Granted, it's a 2 p.m. Pacific start time. There's a little room. You got about 5. Once they actually get it running, it's going to be about if I'm remembering my NASCAR schedules correctly, green flag will drop at somewhere around Pacific time, 2:18 and 30 seconds.
Close.
Yeah, probably. So you look at that and you figure that sundown in the Pacific time is about 7:50-ish. You're looking at a 5.5 hour window. So you better get it in 5.5 hours.
What was it? What was the time you said?
2:18:30.
Close.
Okay.
2:14:30.
2:14:30. I'm sorry.
2:14:30.
I missed it by 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I had the 30 part right though.
Yeah, because the Eastern time is the green flag drops at 5:14.
Right. Okay.
And tomorrow, the Eastern time, the race, the green will drop at 4:29 Eastern. So that would be 1:29 San Diego time.
All right. So that gives them 6 hours, give or take, to be able to get it in. Hopefully that works. Hebron, Ohio, the IHRA going to get in the Nitro Division's Triple Crown Challenge event. This is actually the first one. They were supposed to have one Memorial Day weekend, but it got rained out. So they're going to double up a little bit later on, but they got getting the first one in at National Trail Raceway. The finals this afternoon. Check it out on, is it Flow Racing? No, it's not Flow Racing.
Speed Sport
TV,
but is being broadcast through Amazon Prime.
We saw the qualifying on Amazon Prime. Are they set to show the race too?
I think so.
Okay. Or you could go to the IHRA's official YouTube channel. You noticed daddy and daughter are battling against each other in round 1.
Yeah, they
Top Fuel.
yesterday was Q1 and Q2 for all the rounds, and Top Fuel actually had a knockout session.
Yeah, they
typically don't have about 6 cars show up. They had 15 show up.
Way to go.
So your E1 pairings, your 1 versus 8 is going to be Sean Reed versus Lex June. Your 4 versus 5 is Gary Pritchett versus Spencer Massey. Your 2-7 is Trip Tatum and Chuck Lofton. And your 3 versus 6 is Jasmine Salinas gets to square off against Mike, her dad.
All right. Have fun, family.
Yep.
Hopefully it doesn't mess up Thanksgiving.
Nope.
Sunday's racing, NHRA getting in their West Coast swing. It'll start at Sonoma Dragway with the Denso NHRA Sonoma Nationals presented by Power Edge. Action on the track starts 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time. Fox Sports 1 isn't going to show the action until 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central Time. Okay. Soccer?
Probably.
It's the only thing I can think of. IndyCar heads up to Wisconsin. They're going to run the XPEL Grand Prix at Road America. 4 miles long. We thought San Diego was long. 4 miles long for Road America, 14-turn road course, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Fox and IRN Radio have the coverage. Starts 2 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Central Time. And then, as we noted, the Cup Series wrapping up the weekend. Andrew Will 250 on the Coronado Naval Base Street Course. Final race of the year on Amazon Prime, and MRN Radio has the radio side covered 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Central Time. Formula One is off
To
this weekend.
our illustrious grand buddy with MRN that's got a turn announcing job at San Diego. You don't have to say that we know. We don't have to say that it's USS Carl Vinson in your line of sight. We know.
Yeah, we've heard
Okay,
it.
we've heard it. We know.
And do me
It's been made public.
and do me one other favor, you would, as John Bird take us to break. We'll go ahead and take one a little bit early here. Show a pulse. Stop being monotone.
Oh.
I don't know where he got the
But-
coaching, but he sounds all but flatlining.
Buddy, monotone went to a new level yesterday.
Yeah, I didn't listen to the whole thing.
I listened to just enough of it.
On his last call on the last lap, I thought I felt a heartbeat. On that note, we'll take a break. Get in some news from Formula E right after this.
Stay right here for more on the Championship Racing Network. Four tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Every once in a while, we get questions on the YouTube side, and I got to remember that we on both of them now, and I love having the chat on the CRN Live on YouTube, but I got to remember, obviously, we're on Real Talk 99.5 TV as well. Terry was on there, said, love the show. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you, Terry, very much. Also asked, will your show be on the podcast show soon? Yeah, you can. It'll be shortly after 10 o'clock. John Bird, it's the matter of time of you being able to get it saved and put up there. But yeah, it'll be available on Talk 99.5, 10:30-ish at the latest. Safe to say, yeah. So thank you, Terry. Appreciate you very much. All right, so what else we got going on, shall we? Well, let's go back to what we dealt with from this morning, early this morning in Formula E. And we haven't had a whole lot of news, but I think a couple of notes here, and just because we've been kind of carrying this over from time to time, I figured now's a good time to go ahead and put them front and center, and let's make sure that the news is out there. This morning, no less than 4 drivers had to serve penalties before they got into the race. Penalty levy against Lucas deGrassi. This guy, the team had to change out both his battery and his gearbox after they started qualifying at Monaco. That is a carryover penalty of 40 grid spots. So in other words, every single race after qualifying, he'll have to drop back to the back of the pack until he has served 40 grid spots. Ouch. Taylor Bernard hit with a 10 grid spot penalty because he had 2 separate on-track incidents at Monaco that race stewards ruled were avoidable contact. Max Gunther had to serve a 3 grid spot penalty for exceeding the speed under a full course caution. And Pepe Marti of Cooper Kiro finished out his carryover grid spot penalty from the race before Monaco.
Yeah.
And then sometime back, it's been a while really since we talked about this, but Formula E continues to work towards the introduction of the Gen 4 car, which comes into effect next season. More powerful car. And because the car is more powerful, these small little short city street circuits are becoming untenable. Because these cars now are getting to the point where they're having more power really than what you can put down on these short little tight street courses.
Getting close.
So we're going to start to see them, I think, move to at least a shortened version of actual, and we've been pushing for this basically since this thing started, actual dedicated race courses, road courses. And that's going to start with preseason testing next year as they shift away. And they're going to return preseason testing to Spain. They like the response that they got at the Cupra Madrid E-Prix held back in late March. But again, new, more powerful generation of engines coming into, or batteries, whatever, coming into the series. Now they're going to hold the practice at a new facility, and it seems, again, to show the future of this particular series. They're moving it to the dedicated Urama circuit on the outskirts of the city proper. 14 turns, 2.44 miles long. This is the version they're going to use. It's not the same as what Formula One has used in the past. A little bit shorter version of it, but it is one of the longer circuits that Formula E's ever run on.
Yep.
And
they need to run on longer circuits.
Yeah, they've needed to do this for a long time. And producer John's got this up on both the YouTube pages. And looking at it, you kind of get an idea of exactly what kind of a course we're talking about. Again, dedicated road course, beautiful road course. And again, slightly shorter than what F1's used in the past. But if this is where they're going to start to go, this is a better thing, I think, in the long run for them.
Oh, yeah. I believe so, too.
You know, a city street course, you know, once in a while, sure. You know, but you're a race, you know, you're a racing series. You know, 1, 2, maybe. How many? I'm trying to think. How many does Formula E do? They do a handful in a year of 24 races. And the number is split basically in IndyCar. It's basically 3-3-3 this year because they added the 18th race with the race in Washington, D.C. So 6 oval, 6 dedicated road course, 6 street courses. We got the 1 in NASCAR, which I can technically question, but that's not it's beyond the point.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I'm thinking 16, 17 races next year probably for Formula E. I might do 5 on a street course and put the rest on dedicated road courses. If it was me.
Yeah. Let's see. They've got no Jeddah is not a permanent course.
No. They're set to move to a permanent course whenever they get the Qadiyah course done.
Mexico City. It's a different version of it, but it's a permanent course.
Yeah.
Shanghai's
a street course.
Shanghai International.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Sanya, where they were this morning. That's a street course.
Sanya's a street course. Monaco's permanent.
Yeah.
What? No, Monaco's
Monaco, yeah, it's a street course.
It's a hybrid.
Yeah. I mean, it always looks the same, and they always carve the same course out of the city streets. Technically, if you went to Monaco, you could rent a car and you could drive it at any point in time when they're not preparing for
the only permanent courses that they'll set foot on in 2027 will be Urama,
Monaco,
Shanghai.
We'll call Monaco that. I mean, why not?
Mexico.
Have they figured out where they're coming to the
U.S.?
U.S.?
You want to call Miami one?
They're going to use the same one that F1's been using?
It's the shortened version, but it's the same
of Hard
course.
Rock. Yeah, that's a tough one.
I
I think though it'll over the course of time, I think we'll see this more and more. They're going to start to run on permanent road courses more and more.
That's it, because the only other ones that used to be permanent courses that they ran on is Portland and Long Beach.
Yeah, you guys, they need to do it. I'm just saying it. Formula One's budget cap has been well documented. 2 teams have also been in violation since that was implemented there. Less well known, Formula E also has a budget cap. And for the first time that we've heard of here at CRN, a team has been found in violation, and they actually self-reported it. The Formula E cost cap administration reports McLaren let them know that they forgot to carry over about €500,000 when they did their budget math, put them over the cost cap of €12.25 million. Now think about this for a moment. €12.25 million to put a Formula E car on the track. To put a Formula One car on the track, it's $148 million.
Euros to dollars. You said it was
12.25. So about what, 10 million, give or take?
12.25 million euros.
Yeah.
12,250,000.
Oh, okay. So it was closer than what I thought. Either way, it was termed a minor overspend. The team, which bowed out in the same year that they reported that they overspent, they got fined €400,000, and that marks the end of their time in the series. Again, they ended all operations and participation in the series after last season.
12.25 million euros is $14,048,300.
Oh, so I was doing it the other way. My bad. All right. Let's see here. We haven't said this enough, truth be told, and I'll say it right now. Yes, we're on the YouTube. We always take comments there, and happy to. And the text line's available. John Bird will monitor that at 205-545-9950. But we can take your phone calls as well. And Kyle's checking in from Hoover. Hello, Kyle.
Hey, guys. How are y'all doing this morning?
Doing well. And you?
I couldn't be happier if I was twins.
Oh,
so, but with NASCAR coming up this weekend, you know, they're doing the race at San Diego, and it's, you know, road course race. Kind of reminds me of when they would race in the streets of Chicago.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get y'all's opinion, because y'all have been fans of NASCAR, Indy, all that. With NASCAR, is there one traditional thing or one thing they used to do that they don't do anymore you'd like to see them go back to?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You want the entire list or just the top 10?
Yeah, we can go top 10.
Yeah, really. The one that I would like to see them go, wow, the one of all the ones. Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Rockingham.
For me,
yeah.
For me, it's Daytona back on July the 4th, no matter what day it is, at 10 a.m. start.
Oh, daytime start instead of
I'm with
nighttime?
you.
Daytime start.
I could see that. Yeah.
I could do that, yeah, because I'm with you. I know why they moved it, but now that you don't have to race your way into the playoffs, it doesn't make any sense to leave it where it's at.
I agree.
Like, just put it back.
Yep.
Right. And
the one I'd like...
And plus, too, it
Yeah,
would eliminate all of this rain issues they've been having, it seems, for the last decade.
Yeah, because July 4th is a little bit better weather-wise down there than what we've been seeing in August. I mean, here's the funny thing. We've been to Daytona to try and see a Cup race 3 times, I think it is?
Twice.
Okay, I still have yet to see a Cup race at Daytona because it's constantly rained out.
But we did get the Rolex 24 in.
Yeah, even though it rained a little bit.
Sure.
You know, I have yet to see a Cup race live at Daytona in person because of weather, and it's just because of the way that it's scheduled.
And you're right, and I think that's what's so frustrating to a lot of people is that I remember, you know, growing up, I remember that, and I remember everybody lost their mind when they switched it to the night race.
Yeah.
But then when they said, "Oh, we're going to move it to right before the playoffs," So it gives a little bit more extra drama. And I'm like, you don't need that for extra drama. All you need to do is just let them race it or run any race. There's going to be drama.
Absolutely.
But I'm with. I think that would be mine. Is I'd like to see them take Daytona, put it back during the day on the July 4th week, and just say, there you go. That's an American tradition. Just put it back.
I like it. Go back to the old name too, Firecracker 400.
Yep.
Good call, Kyle. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks, guys.
Take care, man. And feel free, by the way, text line wide open if there's an old tradition, and we can expand this out. You know, if there's one in IndyCar or the NHRA or whatever that you think of that you would like to see that's gone away and you'd like to see them go back to, by all means, bring it up. Love to hear about it. As far as Cup Series news is concerned, following last Sunday's race at Pocono, the seeds are set for year 2 of the Cup Series in-season challenge. They did this last year for the first time, and it was the 5 races that TNT Sports covers, right? But they had to set the seeds early because they're not going to do that at San Diego.
No.
No. This is a 5-race set, begins with Sonoma, runs through the 5 races that TNT Sports will air. Again, 32 of the 36 chartered cars can take part in a chance to claim a $1 million prize at the very end of it all. And the seedings are based upon the ranking in points. So Tyler Reddick is your 1 seed, Denny Hamlin's your 2 seed, right? Last year, as the then 1 seed, Denny Hamlin got knocked out in race 1 at Sonoma by Ty Dillon. And
the opening race last year was Atlanta.
You're right. I'm sorry.
It
It was
was Atlanta,
Atlanta.
yeah.
But he still got knocked out. And really, it was kind of something of his that wasn't of Denny Hamlin's own doing, as I remember.
No.
And now we're going to start it off at Sonoma, where Denny Hamlin has said, I'm no good.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
So this one, again, starts at Sonoma. This benefits 2 drivers. If he made it, and I have to admit, I didn't look completely
I'm looking at it
the
now.
seating.
I'm looking at it now.
All right. So Shane Van Gisbergen is there. He's paired off against Ryan Preece.
That's a cakewalk.
Yeah, sorry.
Unless he breaks or gets wrecked, that's a cakewalk.
Yeah, so I'm looking for our other.
If you're looking at Allmendinger, he's a 21 seed.
Allmendinger's 21. I'm looking for our young driver there, but I'm not seeing him.
Who?
Dang it, where'd he go?
Which one?
There's Hocevar. Okay. Did he not make the seating? Our other young hotshot road course,
Zilic.
Connor Zilic?
Nope.
He didn't make the seating.
He did not.
Okay, because to me, and the fact that Allmendinger's on the other side of the bracket here, he's up against Chase Briscoe. It's not a bad road course racer, though. So Shane Van Gisbergen against Ryan Preece. Ryan Blaney versus Josh Berry. At Sonoma, I like Josh Berry's road course racing, but Ryan Blaney's good. I think it's going to be Blaney versus Van Gisbergen in round 2. Honestly, I have a hard time making that call. Ty Gibbs versus Austin Dillon, I don't have much of a problem calling Ty Gibbs on that. Briscoe versus Allmendinger at Sonoma? That's not a cakewalk call.
I'm going to give Allmendinger the nod.
I'll give him a slight edge, don't get me wrong, because of traditionally what we've seen. But that's not a cakewalk.
But no, it's not. But if you're looking for anything that's going to be an upset-minded round 1.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Denny Hamlin's matched up against Ty Dillon again.
I'll sit here and go through it right here. Reddick should go to round 2.
Should, even though it's Alex Bowman. Alex Bowman's not a bad road course racer, but Reddick's better.
I'm going to say Cindric upsets Keselowski.
Is that a big upset?
Not really, considering it's Ford versus Ford, and Ford is stunk to show up.
Yeah.
Suarez should advance.
Should, yeah, over Gilliland. If Hocevar doesn't lose his mind, he should best.
Should. That's the top half of that side. Coming out after break, we'll go to the second.
Yeah. Let's get hour 1 down here. Hour number 2, we'll continue to go through the bracket here and what we think is going to happen round 1. Keep in mind, that's not this weekend. Round 1 is next weekend at Sonoma, first race on TNT Sports. Hour 1 in the books. Hour 2 is on deck.
Hey, y'all, it's Leland. How would you like to be my coworker? We've got a position open here at Talk 99.5. You get to hang out with AJ and Val and put up with Andrew and Richard, but man, we're a fun bunch. We've got a sales position open as an account representative in our sales department. It's a challenge, but you'll get some of the best training in the industry. We'd love to work with you. Reach out to cumulusmedia.com if you want to take a shot at working with us, cumulusmedia.com. Cumulus Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Two tires only, and back out to the track for more action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome in. Hour number 2. Matt Nicholson, Steve West, producer John Bird here in the studio of the flagship station, and producer John Myers on CRN Live on YouTube. And we're going to bring that seating situation back up again. All right, so here's the deal. This year's races in order: Sonoma first, Chicagoland, the return, second, Echo Park Speedway in Atlanta third, North Wilkesboro Speedway fourth, and then the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. You want to talk about 5 vastly different tracks from each other. Even though Chicagoland and Atlanta are both 1.5 miles, let's face it, that's about the only similarity those two have.
Yeah, that is the only similarity.
So, yeah, this is a nice variety of 5 tracks here.
But picking up where we left off, Hocevar, like you said, if he keeps his head, he should advance.
Should, yeah, because guy's good. He's got speed. He just, something about him getting into his own head and he'll overdrive a corner.
Yep. And fun fact, on San Diego, he only beat me by 1 spot on iRacing the other day. Briscoe and Allmendinger.
That's a tough one, man. It is, because they're both good road course racers, but I'm with you. I think a very slight edge might go to AJ.
Super slight edge.
Yeah, it's not by much. That might be the closest of all of the matchups in round 1, if you ask me.
Gibbs and Ty Dillon. Ty Gibbs will send Austin Dillon to the moon.
Should.
If there's
again, all things being equal,
if there's anything that you may want to define as a possible upset, I'm going to say Michael McDowell knocks out Bubba Wallace in round 1.
And I'm not sure that's that big of an upset because Michael McDowell is a very underrated road course racer.
He's a good road course racer.
Yeah, very underrated.
Chase Elliott should wipe Noah Gragson off the face of the earth.
Yeah, sorry, Noah, but it's true.
Denny Hamlin should advance over Ty Dillon.
Yeah.
Should.
But is Ty Dillon his kryptonite? Or is it Sonoma that's his kryptonite? Not sure which.
We'll tell.
Yeah. Jones Logano is an interesting one.
I'm giving the edge to Eric Jones.
Is it based on the brand of car more than the driver?
It's the brand. It's the car plus the team is getting better week by week by week.
And we've wondered for now several weeks about this situation with Ford.
Yeah.
If anybody is a prime example of what the heck is going on at Ford, it's Joey Logano.
Yeah, that's true. If I'm going to have a true upset in round 1, I'm going to say it's going to be Nemechek knocks Buescher out.
I could see that, actually. I see where you're coming from.
Bell and Chastain.
This is an interesting little choice, too, truth be told.
Gut says Bell, but it depends on how he manages through the weekend, this weekend, with his wrist injury, and if Brent Cruz has to get in the car to relieve him.
Yep.
Byron and Stenhouse. Byron should clean him out.
Should.
Larson and Herbst. Larson will send Herbst to the moon.
Needs to. Well, I say needs to. Sorry, Riley, but yeah.
Van Gisbergen should send Priest out to Saturn.
Right.
Blaney should knock out Barry. So.
Yep. So there you go.
When you get to round 2 at Chicago, that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah, and we'll look at it closer then. Then there's back to Pocono. Track operators stated about a month ago that all 3,300 camping spots had been sold out, then noted that for the 4th year in a row, the grandstands got sold out as well. Pocono, remember this, they've dropped from 2 NASCAR races weekends in a year down to 1 over the last few years. It actually does seem to have helped.
For some places, yeah.
Yeah. In this case, it seems to have helped in the fact that those 2 races, there were some years when Pocono 1 and Pocono 2 were only 6 weeks apart?
Oh, yeah. 6, 7 weeks, 7 at the most.
You're scalping yourself at that point in time. If you're a race fan and you're saying, I'm going to go to one race and I'm going to Pocono because you happen to live in the area, let's say, you now know that you can only go to one. Which one do you want to go to? You want to go to the earlier one? You want to go to the later one? You're effectively, again, you're scalping yourself. You're taking ticket sales away from yourself when you have them that close. And I understand why they're there. And it's in the Pocono Mountains. You have a fairly limited window to be able to get these races, like Michigan. Michigan was kind of the same way. You had a limited time frame to be able to get those races in because you needed it to be somewhat warm, so you needed to have it late in the spring, early summer. You don't want to go too deep into the fall.
No.
Same thing at Pocono.
Yep.
So they, in effect, by having 2 races at those tracks that were relatively close together, they were hurting themselves because you had to make a decision if you were only going to go to one of those races. This, I think, going down to one race actually did help them. Like you said, it's one of the examples. Not all racetracks have that going for them.
No, they don't. They don't.
Because, we'll use our own racetrack in our own backyard in our home for a prime example. I can't tell you the last time that I haven't seen the infield look 90+% full, if not 100%. All the campground areas and all that kind of stuff in the infield done. And the grandstands, 90 to 100% full as well. But you've got a nice separation between the spring race and the fall race. And that helps.
Oh, yeah. The separation. That's the big part, separation.
But there's also that tradition of, you don't want to miss all the extracurricular stuff that's going to go on at Talladega in addition to the racing.
Nope. That's a must.
It's why I said earlier this week, if I were going to take a restaurant and make a theme out of it, what would I do? Talladega Boulevard. It's probably for adults only. But, sorry, that seems to be a proper attraction.
I could use a comparison to something, to a facility that's popular in Atlanta for just a restaurant.
Sure.
To that type of a theme.
There you go.
Magic City.
Yeah. So, but there are tracks that have that kind of tradition. Pocono, while a great place to go, at least it seems that way.
Yeah.
I haven't been there in person to see a race, but it seems like it would be a great place to go. But yeah, you knock them down, unfortunately for them, in one way to one single race. But the benefit is now they're getting sellouts. So congratulations to them.
Yep.
Well, turns out I happen to be right. I talked about this last week. Last week we talked about how Wood Brothers Racing was making a change. They were going to drop Josh Berry at the end of this year. But at that particular point in time, they had not announced who it was that was going to take over that famed number 21 Ford, right? Well, the day that it was announced, I had to go help out my wife do a couple of things at one of our great sponsors, Cat and Bird Winery. I'll talk about them in a moment. And one of the other guys that works there, his name is Mike. He and I got to talking about the Wood Brothers move, and he asked me, who are they going to go with? I said, well, they haven't announced it, but if I'm putting threads together, if I'm connecting dots, I think there's a better than even chance Jesse Love is in that car next year. And that, again, that was the very same night that it was announced that Josh Berry was out of the car at the end of the year.
Yep.
Well, the next morning I woke up and some way off the ranch reservation website that I had never heard of was trying to make a name for themselves. They posted immediately that it was going to be Jesse Love in the 21 car. Well, guess what? no reputable source went with that.
Getting those clicks, baby.
So that's why we didn't go with it last week, except to tell you one particular person said that it was going to happen. I admitted, could it happen? Yes. I, again, made the dots. I made the connection. Turned out it was right. They didn't announce it until this week. But yes, Jesse Love, who said at the beginning of this year he was not going to return to the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series for next year. And there's no room at the RCR Cup Inn, apparently. So there you go. Wednesday of this week, Jesse Love taking over the fame number 21. Love himself is 21 years old. He only has 7 Cup Series starts to his credit, but he is the defending O'Reilly Auto Parts Series champion. He backed that up after winning Rookie of the Year for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series in 2024. Mm-hmm. But here's my question. We're bouncing a talented driver in Josh Berry out for a talented driver in Jesse Love. Is there that much difference between the talent of Josh Berry and Jesse Love?
Considering the theme of the weekend, negative Ghost Rider.
Okay.
I think it's on the surface. Now, if I'm proven wrong, I'm proven wrong. But
Well,
on
yeah.
the surface, lateral move.
Agreed. There are 2 problems that I have.
Here's where Love has the edge on Barry.
Okay, go for it.
Championship. Barry didn't have the O'Reilly
True.
championship.
Yeah, true. And by the way, kudos to Josh Berry, who has said, I'm just looking for a full-time ride next year. He doesn't care which of the top tiers of NASCAR it is.
And he'll have one.
And he'll get a ride.
He'll have one.
And I would hazard a guess, probably there will be a seat come open that we aren't looking at yet, and he'll slide into a Cup Series seat next year.
Probably.
But the fact that he says he is willing to accept a full-time ride, whether it's Cup, O'Reilly, or trucks, kudos to him.
Absolutely. Don't be like Corey LaJoy and say, oh, I'm not going to truck, and then look where you are now, buddy.
Yeah.
You're in truck.
Take the port, dude. You're looking for, you're in a storm. You need a port. Go into the port.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to this car, I think the problem is more the car. And yes, we've talked till we're blue in the face, pardon the pun,
No pun
about
intended,
the blue oval
yeah.
and their problems this year. But it's not just that. Even when Penske was on that 3 championships in a row heater, Logano, Blaney, Logano, the 21 car always seemed to be the outlier, even though it is technically the 4th Team Penske car.
Yeah, that is true. That's very true.
And to me, it's not who's behind the wheel of the car, it's the car.
Yeah, because even though last year, from an overall basis of it, the car was statistically and performing better with Barry versus than it ever was with Harrison Burton.
Sure. And he even claimed to win, got into the playoffs, even though he was bounced out in round 1.
Right. But you've got to look at the overall scope of Ford all year long so far.
Yeah. And they're just not there.
They're not in left field. They're past the left field foul pole.
Yeah. They're looking at the field through binoculars.
Yeah.
Hate to say it, but it's true. But then again, silly season rolls on. However, one seat that's not changing belongs to the number 17 car. That Ford Mustang of RFK Racing. Chris Buescher signed a contract extension this week. Multi-year deal, did not have the details released. But think about this. Chris Buescher's been in the Cup Series since 2016. All those years, he's been under contract with Roush Fenway Racing, even though he was driving for other teams until 2020 when he moved into the 17 car. He's got 5 wins in that car. He had 1 before that when he was kind of seconded to Front Row Motorsports. That was the 2016 season.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into this weekend, he's solid if unspectacular.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because he comes into this weekend, he's 7th in points. He's 106 points above the cutoff line. Don't even get me into how far behind Tyler Reddick he is. That's not the point. But he's 106 points over the cut line with 10 races left, which means he's in a pretty good position to make the chase anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So this really doesn't come as much of a surprise.
No.
I like Chris Buescher. I like him in that car. He seems comfortable there. He's got a great rapport with his team and his crew chief.
Mm-hmm.
This makes perfect sense.
Yep, and it gives long-term stability to RFK.
Yeah, and believe you me, that's exactly what Brad Keselowski's looking for.
Yep.
He doesn't want to sit there and start plucking things around and changing things around, because he's starting to see where this team, where they had been floundering just, 2-3 years ago, really.
Yeah.
They've steadied their ship, and they're starting to get to the point where I think they're going to start to see some performance. I mean, Brad Keselowski early this year, despite the Ford problems, was something of a threat to win a race, maybe here or there, which would have been nice because it would have broken a nice long race winning streak.
It would have.
And we saw Ryan Preece claim the win at the Clash at Bowman Gray at the beginning of the year too. Even though it wasn't a points race, it's still a win. So that's big.
Yep.
All right, we talked about TNT Sports set to take over the coverage of the Cup Series after this weekend. They have now finalized their TV crew. Booth is going to be the same as Amazon Prime. Adam Alexander on the call. Booth analysis from Dale Jr. and Steve Letarte. Jeff Burton comes over from NBC Sports, where he still is, by the way. He's going to be a studio analyst for 2 of the 5 races. Marty Snyder, Shannon Spake, Danielle Trotta going to be taking over the pit call. Shannon Spake. I mean, we're used to her being in a situation, Danielle Trotta too, where they were hosts of NASCAR Race Day on the old Fox Sports and Speed before that. Now they're both covering the pits with Marty Snyder. Danielle did a nice job last year.
She did do a nice job on pit road.
And Shannon, she's a professional. She's been in and around NASCAR for a long time. I have no worries about her being on the pit road doing a call.
No.
Marty Snyder, we know him well. Pre- and post-race coverage going to be hosted by veteran NASCAR reporter Marty Smith from ESPN. Going to have Jamie McMurray alongside him. And now 7-time Cup Series champion Jimmy Johnson will be an in-studio analyst like Burton. Burton's going to do 2 of the races. Jimmy Johnson will take the other 3, Sonoma, North Wilkesboro, and Indianapolis. It's a pretty good crew if you got TNT Sports.
Yep.
Wow. Le Mans and NASCAR. They actually have a longer history than what we remember from just a couple of years ago when they put that Garage 56 entry out there.
Right.
NASCAR first showed up at Le Mans 50 years ago. And there was a celebration planned at that famed course, kind of appropriately, over the July 4th weekend. More than 30 NASCAR stock cars and even 1 truck, actually, from NASCAR's history going to be taking the course. Vehicles that go back as far as the Plymouth Belvedere from 1966 all the way up to the 2020 Cup Series entry from Kurt Busch. No word at this time if this is going to be available to see on television. We'll keep on top of that. I don't know exactly what all they're planning on doing with this, but this is going to be fascinating to see if this is like that first time that we saw those IROC cars, for example, that Ray Evernham got them all together. They didn't do a race. They basically did a parade.
Yeah.
But even then, it was cool to see the cars on the track.
Yeah, I mean, Petty's Plymouth Belvedere car, Junie Donlevy's Torino, Dave Marcus's Oldsmobile, DW's Pontiac, Mark Martin's Ford Thunderbird, the Dale Jarrett Ford Thunderbird, Harry Gant's Busch Series Chevrolet Lumina, Dale Earnhardt's car, the Derek Cope Ford Thunderbird.
Is that the one that won Daytona?
No, that's a 12 car.
Gotcha.
The Smokin' Joe's Jimmy Spencer Ford Thunderbird, the old Johnny Benson Pontiac Grand Prix, Mark Martin's Ford Thunderbird, Valvoline, David Green's Chevrolet car. Why are we putting 3 cars from Talladega Nights in this? And if I'm Joe Nemechek, I'm hanging somebody up by a tree.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Joe Nemechek getting put in Cal Naughton's Old Spice car?
That is a little weird.
Give me a break.
That is a little
We've
weird.
even got an ARCA car out there, Frank Kimmel's.
Yeah.
Marcus Ambrose's Busch Series Ford Fusion. A couple of Ford Mustangs from the Nationwide Series. J.C. France driving the Garage 56 car.
Yep.
And Kurt driving. That's cool that Kurt renumbered that car to number 8.
I love that.
Yep.
Very cool.
Very cool.
It's a very nice representation across really almost all the generations.
It really is, yeah.
I got to give him credit for that. Way to go. Hopefully it'll be on TV somewhere, or at least maybe on YouTube once after the fact. It'd be cool to see them on that course. Then we got the video game NASCAR 2026, or NASCAR 26 as it is called. It will be, we now found out, defending Cup Series champion Kyle Larson on the cover. I think this decision probably had to have been made before Kyle Busch passed away.
I'm sure.
The official unveiling of this happened just a couple of days ago. USS Midway, aircraft carrier permanently docked at San Diego. Crane lifted a number 5 Chevy stock car up onto the deck of it. He performed some burnouts and then got out of the car, and they did the unveiling. The game will go on sale in September, will include the Naval Course Base Race Course. Of course, iRacing is doing this video game system for PS and Xbox or whatever system you got.
PC,
and you can even do it for PC.
Yep.
And as we noted last week, iRacing already has the naval base up on iRacing.com. So that's already ready to go. All that'll be prepared. But you showed me a picture.
Yeah. There's a picture of this car that he done the burnouts in.
It doesn't, and I say it's a number 5 Chevrolet stock car because it's wrapped exactly like the number 5 stock car he's going to be qualifying in today and racing tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you look at that front end, that nose, it ain't a Chevy. I don't know what it is, but it ain't a Chevy. I wish you've got the picture somewhere. You might be able to hold it up to the camera.
Yeah.
I don't know what that car is. It looks like a weird mashup of the grill of the Camaro, but the nose piece itself, there you go. Bring it over. There you go. The nose piece, the grill, if you will, right up above the grill specifically, that looks Toyota.
That is not Toyota.
It looks more Toyota than Ford or Chevy.
Do you know what that looks like? Because I looked at it last night.
It looks more like the potential of Dodge coming back.
That's a Dodge Challenger nose.
And the headlights kind of remind me of that too.
That's a Dodge Challenger nose because Dodge Charger Challenger. That's a Dodge.
Whatever name they're going to use.
Because when you look at the 5-star bodies late model package that they've already released that runs on late models,
looks a heck of a lot.
It's
like
identical.
That. Looks a heck of a lot like.
Because
that.
the first thing I said when I looked at it, I'm going to quote my 87-year-old grandfather on this. What in the Sam Hill is this?
And you showed it to me, and before you handed me your phone to show it to me, you said, "See if you can tell what's wrong with this picture." And I'm sitting there looking at it and going, "What the heck front end is that?"
Because I looked, I went.
Because you're right, the grill is ZL1 Camaro.
It's got ZL1 on the bottom of it with stamped on it.
But everything else doesn't look Chevrolet at all.
That's a Dodge. That's the Dodge nose with the Dodge headlights.
So maybe we have got a preview. Oddly enough. Why they stuck it on that car, I don't know.
I don't know, but if I'm Rick Hendrick, I'm pitching a godforsaken fit.
Yeah, I think I would be
I'm
too.
pitching a fit.
I think I would be too if I were him. Let's go ahead and take this break here because when we come back, NASCAR's lost a big name. It's print journalism. Hey, remember that, kids? Kids, ask your grandparents. But in print journalism, we've lost a big name. And he's been retired for a while, but he's always seemingly just kind of hung around. So when I tell you the name when we come back from this break, you ought to know it if you're a racing fan of any length of time. So we'll get to that. We got Formula One and IndyCar news as well, all in the final couple of segments of this edition of CRN.
Don't touch that dial. The Championship Racing Network will be right back.
Homeowners, Ryan Jennings here with Hometown Roofing and Restorations. You work hard all week. The last thing you want on a Saturday morning is a roofer pounding on your door and setting the dog off. We all know your roof is jacked. We created a free online roof estimator. Just visit htsroofers.com, plug in your address, and get a quote for a brand new roof in 15 seconds or less. No door knocking, just fast, easy pricing from the comfort of your home. And with up to 6 financing options available, we have solutions for any budget. Visit htsroofers.com today. That's htsroofers.com.
Fuel only, fuel only. Go, go, go. We're back to the Championship Racing Network.
All right, let's get back into things here and portions of the show. This one specifically being brought to you by the fine folks at Cat and Bird Winery. Nothing really special going on today over there, but I'm here to tell you if you are getting some cabin fever because you have been stuck inside because of all the rain that we've had here in and around central Alabama over the last week, I can understand it. Cat and Bird Winery is the place that you ought to be thinking about because they've got inside, got a great selection of wines that are made right there on spot. They also have what they call wine slushy. So if you're a little hot, cool off a little bit like that. They even have one for the kids. And they've got some select craft brews as well. And it's just a great place to just hang out and relax. And if you want to, you can get down under the pavilion. They got fans down there. You think, well, that's outside. It's kind of hot. No, they got fans down there. So they could actually make that work as well. Cat and Bird Winery, easy to find, easy to locate, 11661 Old Highway 280 in Chelsea. If you go down there, tell them you heard about it right here on CRN. If you do that, 10% off of your total bill. Not a bad deal. Nope. Not at all. Make sure you turn your microphone on.
That would really help.
It really would.
The cause.
Yes. Because it brings us to this, and we mentioned this on this week's Cross Flags podcast, which is available now on all the regular places. But we wanted to kind of dive into it a little bit more here in the talking of the passing of Steve Wade. And Steve Wade is somebody, if you have been a fan of NASCAR for any length of time, he's a name you ought to know.
Yep.
One of the most accomplished former NASCAR print media journalists, born October 6, 1948, Richmond, Virginia. He was an Army brat, lived for a while in places like Puerto Rico and Japan outside the U.S. proper, and Pennsylvania and Arizona within the U.S. proper. But when his father retired from the Army, they decided they were going to find their home in Virginia Beach, Virginia. Graduated high school there, went on to attend Old Dominion University. Got his degree not in print journalism, but in political science and government in 1970s class. Later that year, married his wife, Margaret. It was, despite that degree, I guess you could probably say, that he learned of a job working for the Martinsville Bulletin newspaper as a sports writer. Hey, get your foot in the door, right? Covered his first NASCAR event at the fall of 1971 there at the town's noted paperclip of a track and caught the racing bug at that point, began to get noted for his reporting. After a short stint in Martinsville, moved to Roanoke, Virginia, worked for the Roanoke Times, stayed there into the 1980s. But it was during his final couple of years in Roanoke that he started to freelance for what was initially known as the Grand National Scene. He was named its executive editor in May of 1981, and that was the place he would stay for the next 28 years. During his tenure there, subscription rose from 9,000 to just over 150,000 a month. He renamed it Winston Cup Scene in 1989, and then in 2004, when Winston dropped their sponsorship of the Cup Series, simply NASCAR Scene. Wade won many awards for his reporting over the years, among them the NMPA Rider of the Year, the Henry T. McLemore Award for Outstanding Lifetime Contributions to Motorsports, NMPA Hall of Fame Class 2014, NASCAR Hall of Fame Squire Hall Award winner for Media Excellence in 2018, and the list could go on. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
But print publications, as we all know, took a downturn with the internet taking hold, and NASCAR scene ended its print run in January of 2010. When that happened, Wade all but retired. He did work with Rick Houston of FrontStretch.com to archive the entire run of the magazine, and actually it kind of led to a NASCAR Scene podcast, which was still going as of earlier on this year.
Yep.
Steve and Margaret married until his passing. Their 2 children, Celeste and Andrew, but cancer. God, that sucks. Cancer takes Steve Wade. Family requested that in lieu of flowers, contribute either to Atrium Health Cancer Institute or Victory Junction in his memory. Steve Wade's 77 years old. I never had the opportunity to meet him. Passed by him on a couple of occasions.
Same here.
But just down-to-earth guy.
Yep.
Willing to say hello, willing to talk. And, man, if you got him to talk about NASCAR, boom, he was off.
Yep. That's one of the last true, real journalists of motorsports left. A voice that is now gone.
Yeah. Hate to say it.
Yep.
Phone lines, as we've said, have opened 205-545-9950. And Joseph checking in from Aniana. Hello, Joseph. How are you this morning?
Steve, your lazy boy called me. He said he's tired of you just sitting on your rear end. You need to be a little bit more busy.
Yeah, really. I'll work on that for you. How's that?
No, the reason I called, and I don't know if you can squeeze this in, say, like toward the end of the show or whatever, because I think it'd be really interesting.
Okay.
Can you do a small segment on car movies or car television shows? And here's an example. It's like, what were the vehicles used in, say, the old black and white TV series Car 54? What type police car was used? And a little background on that. And then, of course, you can go into NASCAR, the last American hero. And if you really want to go back and see how NASCAR has moved forward, go watch Stroke or Ace with Burt Reynolds.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable how NASCAR has gone into this full-blown super production when they were just running up on the back of flatbed trucks and talking to the crowd. It's a big cultural difference.
It is. You're right.
And then zip over to Formula One and open wheel. There was a little lost gem from 2001 that stars Sylvester Stallone called Driven.
Yeah,
that a
I've
lot
seen
of people it just kind of disappeared.
Yeah.
And then hey, when you're sitting in the lazy boy and it's late into the evening, there was a movie that came out, I'm gonna say maybe the early '60s, called Hot Rods to Hell, about a family that's on a road trip and they start being terrorized by these teenage kids and hot rods.
Oh.
And and so anyway, it's kind of play around with it and kind of do a last minute segment on this right here. I think there's a lot of cool. Well, hey, here's what you call it: Hollywood of Wheels. There's a lot of cool movies. I mean, here's an example. Once again, Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, when that series first started, he was driving. I might get confused with another TV series. I think he was driving a Chevrolet or GMC. Then they switched over to Dodge.
Yeah, the Ram pickups.
And then of course you can get into Miami Vice, or you can go Nash Bridges had that Barracuda that he drove around in, stuff like that. Hey, it's just a suggestion, but hey, y'all guys are doing a great show and keep up the good work.
Joseph, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Yeah, that's actually an interesting thought, actually. We could go back. I mean, he mentioned Stroke or Ace and talking about how the cars have changed over time. You look at it, you look at some of the film that they used in Days of Thunder, you can see the difference as well. Because there's still some of the old body style Chevrolets in addition to the Luminas that they show from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, there's a lot of them. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. We'll have to look into that, see what we can do. Meantime, let's talk about the O'Reilly Auto Parts series here, where Jeremy Clements might not be known for winning a whole lot or claiming championships for that matter. But that guy's about to be entered in the NASCAR record book this weekend. He's set to pass Kenny Wallace for the most races started in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series under whatever name. And this is really kind of a David versus Goliath thing, if you really want to put it that way.
Yeah.
Because this is the little engine that could. This is a simple little family-owned operation that has gotten by really simply on hard work and determination. He first showed up on the circuit in 2003, made his debut at the age of 18 at the now defunct, unfortunately, Pikes Peak International Raceway. He said of that day that he knew he was in over his head with the team using an old car and not being 100% prepared. But despite that, he's racked up 547 starts in the series. When the green flag flies later today, he will break that tie with Kenny Wallace, and he'll be the all-time starts leader. And you say, well, it's the all-time starts leader in the secondary series. Hey. He's made a career out of doing what he loves.
That's nothing to balk an eye at.
Yeah, he's made a career out of doing what he loves. If you want to look at that, look at a guy who's right here in our own backyard in the Alabama gang, Red Farmer. Or any number of guys. Justin Allgaier could tell you, yeah, I went to the Cup Series. I was much happier in the Xfinity / O'Reilly Auto Parts Series.
Same way that Ron Holderday was in trucks and Matt Crafton in trucks.
Matt Crafton in trucks is a prime example.
Yeah.
When I first got into this business, for example, and I looked at the ratings of radio markets across the country, and it's all based upon population of the metropolitan area. I said, I would love to work in Birmingham, but the ultimate is to work in a top 10 market, New York being number one. Well, those of you that know me know I can't stand New York. If New York fell off into the Atlantic Ocean, it wouldn't bother me. Sorry, New Yorkers, but I really don't care about New York City. Los Angeles was the place that I thought I might want to go when I was really young. Now I don't care.
Right.
I'm happy being in Birmingham, Alabama, because it's home.
Mm-hmm.
I may not have been born here, but I was raised here, and this is where I've spent the overwhelming majority of my life. This is my home. If I think of home, I think Birmingham.
Yeah.
And the fact that I am on the air in the place that I grew up in, and I love being here, that's the most important part, and that's being comfortable.
Right.
The top 10 markets in the radio world, I don't care. If L.A. or Dallas or Houston or whatever came calling, sure, I'd listen. Would I go?
Yeah, true. But, I mean, if you got a record in any of the top 3 series, that's nothing to bat an eye at.
Congratulations, Jeremy Clements.
His dad, where they made their name at, his dad is a very extremely renowned engine builder in the dirt late model world.
Yeah.
Very huge.
Yeah. Congratulations out to him. Amen. To the IndyCar series where officials have decided, man, does this sound like Formula One or what? They've decided they're going to return the hybrid system back to the output of when it was introduced 2 years ago. Why? They're having reliability problems. The decrease in power is in effect immediately. He's going to have the tech team adjusting the output, basically depending on the track that they're racing on any particular weekend. So the IndyCar tech team basically is going to set the output level for each of the 25 cars on the track every weekend. There's a fun job.
All righty.
On ovals, the hybrid system really is the only power addition available to drivers. On road and street courses like this weekend at Road America, not only do you have a button where you can press the hybrid system and get an additional 50 or so horsepower, there's also that push-to-pass system, which you can only use in certain sections on the track, really, to any effect anyway. And that adds another. So there's a potential 100-plus horsepower available. But again, especially push-to-pass, that's only a short burst thing. But again, this has been troublesome, but a different sort of troublesome. We talked about the 50-50 split with Formula One that they began the year in, and the drivers hated it, by and large.
Oh, yeah.
There were a couple of drivers that adjusted to it real quick and just said, you know what, hey, it's the car. We have to adjust to it as the driver, so let's just go race. And then there was Max Verstappen, who all but took his ball and went home. But the reliability's been there because they've had the hybrid system over the years. They've just playing with the output. This is a new system to IndyCar. And since they ratcheted up the power, the reliability's gone away. Is it?
It has.
So here comes the question. Why would just turning up the power create the reliability problem? Creating more heat? Or is there much more to it than just that?
Heat and friction, and the way some of the engine components, majority of the engine components have a rating on them to what RPM level or RPM band that those parts will hold at, or a horsepower withstanding or torque withstanding, however you want to look at it. And with that additional horsepower shot, you're putting it into that. They're already pushing the limits of everything being into that band or right at that band.
Sure.
That extra horsepower shot, you're at the mercy or risk, or however you want to look at it, of going over. And if you go over, and one wrong revolution of that engine, that could be catastrophic.
And the other part of it to me that always has caught me this year in watching the IndyCar races that you watch, and you get that shot of the camera that's right over the driver's head, and it looks down at the aero screen and the halo that's right there, and they tend to put the graphics up there that show you the stats of the car, the RPM, what gear they're in, so on and so forth. Watch that battery of the hybrid system, and you will see it during a course of any particular given lap go all the way up to 99%, drop all the way down to 0. Go back all the way up to 99%, drop all the way back to 0.
They're hitting that.
They're hitting cycling. That can't help.
They're hitting that's more on the electrical side.
I get it, but that can't be helping the system, can it?
It's especially if you regen deploy multiple times a lap. More than two times a lap, I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. That's probably not helping.
Okay.
But,
so
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be
confusing.
weird. But they're dialing it back a little bit, hoping that they can do a couple of things, bring reliability back into it so it'll last longer. And the reason they want it to last longer as well, they've got a parts situation. They're running out of these systems to be able to hand out to the teams.
That's a manufacturer problem.
That is a manufacturing problem, number one. Number two, we've talked about it here in the past few weeks. Again, FIA president wanting to return Formula One to V8s. I pray naturally aspirated. No turbos, no nothing. Just put the V8 under the bonnet and let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Could IndyCar think about maybe following suit and doing the same thing?
They should.
Should. Good word.
They should.
I like it. Oh, one more note here. Two more notes technically, but I'm going to wait for one until after the break. But this note real quick before we go to the break. Team Penske is looking at a former F1 driver to be on standby this weekend, just in case Joseph Newgarden cannot run the entire race this weekend. It's Felipe Nasser. He's done several IndyCar tests since 2019. They called him up after Newgarden suffered a foot injury during the Indy 500. So far hasn't stopped Newgarden, but they are saying that the length and the amount of force that he's going to have to press on the brakes in these long braking sections at Road America could cause that foot to become a problem. So they want Nasser on standby just in case.
Smart move because he's one of the drivers for the Penske Porsche IMSA team.
Yeah, so he's within the family. So that's the easy part of that. Not a bad situation, but I got to admit, a little bit out of left field for me because of all the people that I would have thought Penske might have tried to call in. Felipe Nasser was not on that list.
No. Me neither.
This might be a golden opportunity, Felipe, if you're interested in doing IndyCar.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of which, they lost a family member.
Back with more on the Championship Racing Network.
As you know, when it rains, it pours, and it can pour at any moment. At Be Dry Alabama, their specialty is keeping your property dry. Many areas of your lawn can stay wet for weeks after a rain. Poor drainage can cause many problems for your home and landscaping, not to mention your foundation. We're talking to David Fevet and Be Dry Alabama. We can go through a drought, but one thing we know,
the rain will be here. And when we do, you remember the one name in business that has been around since 1958 with a lifetime warranty is Be Dry. Be Dry is there to fix that problem and fix it for good.
in addition to the lifetime warranty for the structure of your home, Be Dry is offering a spring special of 25% off an encapsulation of your crawl space to help eliminate musty odors in your home. Contact the pros at Be Dry Alabama with the lifetime warranty, plus 25% off encapsulation for a limited time only. Don't forget Be Dry Foundation and Waterproofing. Visit them at BeDryAlabama.com. Once again, that's BeDryAlabama.com.
Four tires and 2 cans of fuel, and we're back to more racing action on the Championship Racing Network.
Welcome back into the show. Final segment of this weekend's Father's Day weekend edition of CRN here on Talk 99.5, talk995.com, Real Talk 99.5 TV, and also on CRN Live on YouTube. So we just got done talking about
In regards to
Newgarden and Penske looking for a sub driver.
In regards to sub drivers, and I'm on, in a jokingly way, I'm going to call you out, Tim Gallagher. You need to stop. You need to stop.
Your nomination
for Natalie Decker? No. Sorry, but no.
No. It's not going to work.
Sorry, but no.
Interesting thinking. Kudos for thinking outside the box, but dude, you're so far away from the box you can't see the box.
He's past the box.
Come back closer to the box.
He's past the box.
Come back closer to the box.
Come on, Tim. You know better.
The box is where the light is. Come to the light. All right. Just like the NASCAR family is mourning on Steve Wade, the IndyCar family mourning as well. The passing of Dennis Reinbold, the owner of the part-time Dreyer and Reinbold team. And I say the owner of the part-time Dreyer and Reinbold team. Yes, he is the lone owner. Wait a minute. It's 2 names. I'll get back to that. This team has put cars into the Indy 500 and the IndyCar Series now for over a quarter of a century, but he passed away last Saturday, sometime shortly after our show ended. The family said peacefully. The family was there with him. I'll give you 3 guesses as to why. The first 2 don't count, unfortunately.
Yep.
Reinbold was a car dealer by trade, started up his racing operation in 1999, using his own name, added the name Dreyer as a callback to his own family's racing heritage, taking it from his grandfather, Floyd Pop Dreyer. Floyd, or Pop, was a motorcycle racer before becoming a crew member and a chief mechanic for the Duesenberg team that raced in the 1927 Indy 500. In 2000, the very next year after he started the operation, team ran the full schedule, won that season's first race, Robbie Buell behind the wheel of the now defunct Walt Disney World Speedway. Remember that?
The good old Mick Yard.
Yep. Had a little lake right around it that was done in the shape of Mickey's whole face, the typical Disney look, right? Shocking, right?
Yeah, shocking.
Thing about it is that ended up being their only win to date. We right now don't know the future of Dreyer and Reinbold Racing. But after the 2012 season, the team dropped from a full-time to a part-time organization that, for all intents and purposes, only entered Indy 500 races. Say for 2020, the COVID-affected year, that stupid COVID-affected year, they entered 4 races that year. Over the years, a whole lot of well-known names have driven for that team. They include Buddy Lazier, Buddy Rice, Simon Pagenaud, J.R. Hildebrand, Townsend Bell, Connor Daly, Paul Tracy. Of all Indy 500 results, their best one came in 2012. Oriol Servia was driving. That guy's now, or last I heard, he was still the regular pace car driver for IndyCar races.
He is.
And Oriol Servia that year brought the racer home in 4th. Ryan Hunter-Reay was behind the wheel just last year. He was actually leading late in the race, but unfortunately they gambled and ran out of fuel before he could pit. It was notable in the fact that Dreyer and Reinbold racing drivers have led laps in 4 of the last 6 Indy 500s. So they're building good cars.
Yep.
And they're getting pretty good names to get behind the wheel, too.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, Reinbold was diagnosed with cancer, and it was due to that horrible disease that he began to suffer. Recently, he ended up being homebound. It was at his home that he passed away, surrounded by family. Dennis Reinbold, only 65 years old. Too young.
Yep, way too young.
And again, we don't know the future of the team now because it was Dennis Reinbold.
Yeah.
So now we don't know.
I'm sure it'll carry on in some shape, form, or fashion.
I hope it does. I really
just
do.
a matter of what level.
Yeah, I hope it does. I really hope that team does continue on because that is, if for nothing else, we need teams like this.
They're the little engine that could.
Yeah. We talked about Jeremy Clements and the fact that they're just the little family-owned operation that just kept plugging away, and now all of a sudden they're the all-time record holder for starts in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Dreyer and Reinbold's that kind of a team. They're underfunded. They only run one race a year, but they get a good driver behind the wheel. They build a good car, and they go out there and they show up some of these teams that have full-time operations with 2 and 3 cars.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about the Indy 500, where you go from the 25 cars that start every other race and you expand the field out to 33, that's how you expand the field out to 33. It's not just all the teams that have 2 and 3 cars adding one for this race.
Yeah.
It is the one-off operations like Dreyer and Reinbold that help make that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're great stories.
I agree.
They really are. I want to show you a freak thing here because this really is kind of a freaky situation, and this has a visual aspect that's going to be on CRN Live on YouTube as well. And you're the driver. We'll talk about this in a moment. But freak things happen at racetracks all the time. But whenever you think you've seen it all, you suddenly get something new. And for example, I give you last Sunday's Formula One race in Barcelona. Nico Hülkenberg suffers a DNF because of a rock. And I'm not talking about the country, and I'm not talking about Charlie Brown. Nico Hülkenberg, running well in his Audi, actually looked prepared to score his first points of the season, battling Liam Lawson actually for 9th place when they came around turn 12. Lawson went a bit wide. And if you're familiar with Barcelona, there's not a whole lot of runoff area coming off of turn 12. Effectively, you get the little line that denotes whether or not you're over the track limits. And about maybe a foot off of that line, maybe not even that far, is gravel. I wonder if they're going to change that.
Probably will now.
So he goes a bit wide, left side tires dip onto the gravel trap just off the asphalt, sent some flying back towards Hülkenberg. One bit of that gravel hit the exact right spot. There's a safety switch that's on the outside of the engine cowl, just behind the driver, just under the main air intake, that the crew, if there's a fire, they can shut the engine off without the driver having to do it. That rock hit that switch, killed the racer. All he can do is drift into the pits, and he's done and gets a DNF because of a rock.
That's where you got the old saying, if you had any luck, you'd have no luck at all.
Exactly. And
that's crazy.
All right, so if you're looking at CRN Live, you can see right there where that E sits. That's where the switch is, and that rock hit that spot. Of all the places it could have hit, it hit that.
I'm not even going to say what I would be saying underneath my helmet if that happened.
Well, yeah, really.
I'm not even going to say it.
So let's deal with that for a moment because, again, weird things happen on the track all the time. In thinking about whether it happened to you or somebody that you raced with, odd situation that caused a weird story like this. Anything come to mind immediately?
I would say to me, what happened to me, it didn't have anything. It wasn't anything that happened to me that caused any damage to my car. But a race at Talladega in 2000 and I think it was 2010, 2011, somewhere in there, in the middle of a race, and I had left my gloves at home.
Okay.
I forgot my gloves, and I was driving. There's several people at the time were driving without gloves. Let me put that disclaimer out there. It's a lot different nowadays.
Yeah.
But didn't have my gloves on, and had a dragonfly hit me in the knuckle right here on the left hand and bust my knuckle wide open.
Wow.
A dragonfly.
Of all things.
It caused, and I looked up, I'm like, where did this blood come from? I'm like, oh, my knuckle's busted. And the reason I knew it was a dragonfly because when it hit off of my knuckle, it hit my visor.
Oh, hello.
So it was just a.
Yeah. And then later on, you didn't think about it. You probably felt it, but you didn't think about it because you're busy doing other stuff.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about it.
I got you. All right. Like I said, weird stuff happen all the time, but just because you think you've heard it all, probably.
I know somebody else that had and this has happened commonly before, but I've had a washer come off of their car and got stuck in the air cleaner, and then got sucked down through the air cleaner into the carburetor.
That's not good.
No, and it was found wedged in the carburetor, and it hung the barrels wide open. Yeah.
Fun.
Oh yeah.
And one final note here, as far as the news is concerned, we haven't really talked about the IROC series in a while. It's because, they ran a couple of months ago up at 1010's Motor Club, just off, outside of Charlotte Motor Speedway, and they actually did a race there. Jeff Gordon and Kurt Busch had a ball going after each other, changing the lead several times. Well, they're going to get another chance later on this year. They're going to go back out to WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca for the second year in a row for Monterey Motorsports Reunion Weekend, which is August 12th through the 15th this year. Among the drivers scheduled to participate this time around, NASCAR drivers that include Jimmy Johnson, Kurt Busch, Bobby Labonte. IndyCar drivers include Dario Franchitti and Danny Sullivan. Sports car racer Scott Pruitt's going to be there. Not going to be an exhibition like last year. They are going to race.
Run them.
And if you think about the vast majority of and the wide variety of cars that are in the IROC series that Ray Evernham has cobbled together, which goes all the way back to their very beginnings in the early 1970s to their last year in 2006.
Yeah.
That's a wide variety of cars to go look at.
That is true.
That's why the Monterey Motorsports Reunion Weekend is a great place for them to go. I like Joseph's suggestion. We might definitely include that, even if it's just to kind of recommend a film at some point in time here that you may not have thought about in a long time or never have even heard of. Something to think about. Thank you very much for checking us out. As we step aside, don't forget Cross Flags coming up this week, middle of the week. You can check that out on CRN Live on YouTube as well.